Hello and welcome to PAP, Public Access Poetry. Today's guests are Bill Kushner and Michael Slater. Bill Kushner is going to read first. In 1976, Midnight Sun Press brought out his chapbook of poems titled Night Fishing. And Bill Kushner was most gratified by one review which began with the lead, Night Fishing Worth Hooking. In 1977, his work appeared in Fresh Paint, an anthology of younger poets published by Atlantis Press. His poems will appear in the next edition of Cough Magazine and the New York Quarterly. On Thursday, April 20th at 6:30, he will read at the Viridian Gallery at 24 West 57th Street, along with Mary Ferrari. Both he and Ferrari have been past recipients of the Dillis Thomas Prize for Poetry. Everyone is invited to meet the poets. Mike Slater, along with Yuki Hartman, is the co-editor of the aforementioned anthology Fresh Paint. Besides having poems in this anthology, he's also been published in many of the smaller magazines around the country. So Bill Kushner first, then Michael Slater.
I'm going to dedicate my reading to all the wonderful Sunday afternoon poetry readings at the West End Bar at Broadway and 113th Street. Hope to see you there. 11/29/77. I lash my glasses over my colossus of a nose, a kind of cerebration of life this pregnant morning here in Paperland. The sad exterminating man, he can't believe I'm so buggy. More joy juice I demand, oh eternal cry. As the world demands of my lazy heart, it come alive. I do my foaming love dance, and his spray can melts along with his pants. Look, the streets are walking as usual with all my deserted lovers. They wave to me, held vibrant, naked by my window. Come and join us. But no, I've this new pen. I slap my behind, yell, Mama. A baby poem springs out, yawns, and sees a good life stretching beyond the black mat, where muscled athletes bow their bodies low before my heat. It's a simple gesture, which simply means, I wish you a good fight, my friend, and may you defeat me well. My New Yorker cartoon. Jim? Oh, he's out in the back, waxing nostalgic. This is a poem about you always going to the bathroom. You were obviously a Bronx girl, bending over the sink like some shivering sinner in the confession box, strangling your button nose in lavender soap. Do you recall my tongue in yours, my hairy hand under your white robe? Well, I am a furrier's son and half a madman. I come from Brooklyn and I warn you, you will never quite achieve sainthood, not with me around. You call out for a towel, and I arrive, fresh from among the blue pillows on your satin love seat. Like a pig in a forest of acorns, I plant my face before yours. See how my fangs drool with lust and saliva? You tomcat, you murmur, your green eyes glittering like the buckle on my belt as I unbuckle it. My teeth down your spine as we make love upon the yellow tiles. Oh, let me. I want to get you all lathered up so you will never need to bathe again. The angel fish on your shower curtains drip with disbelief as we coo, smooch, and ooze our way to hell. A strange thought. This makes twice I've heard Alice Notley say fuck. Ed Sanders. Down the butterfly road, the lives of poets of fertile field get more half-truths from weirdos, they say. The poet strips and you get 10 facts. A footnote dangles shimmeringly off page, like the cat made the Gutenberg Bible, fucked everybody up centuries. Each cluster like a high-energy factor grid. Byron, the world's greatest, I say. Why not? No need to crumble the secret police sellout. Why let some coffee-drinking phone freak get the money? Pressure on poets. Cool 'em up, calm 'em down. To face the terror, get knocked down and get up. The basic method to write everything down. Distilled intensity like Sappho. Data kernels make it sound. Love and persistence to it. Words in my jail cell. Well, I didn't have anything else to do. Les verse gardens, dig and explore. Exhaust one place, one man, woman, and then you're in forever. You're going one-on-one with reality. All the secrets I'm going to give out. Exquisite Ovid, a blind guy with a lute, and listening all through night. Very deeply I feel history. I'll babble it out quickly. My epic poem, the underpinnings of, I'll chant next year. I get high. I get high on country sunshine. I get high on mountain dew. Open spaces, smiling faces, they make me high. How about you? I get high when I smell clover. I don't need no sniffing glue. Call me crazy, call me a lover. Love makes me high. How about you? Are you popping pills and dropping acid, thinking you're so smart? Well, let me tell you, mister, there's a better way to start. I get high on fields of daisies. I get high on skies of blue. Gurgling babies, purty ladies, they make me high. How about you? Are you shooting up on dope and cocaine, smoking Mary Jane? Well, let me ask you, mister, ain't you living life in vain? I get high on God and country. I get high on apple pie. Here's my hand, please take it, brother. Come waltz with me, and we'll get high. Mike Slater. Feeling without language is hysterical. The romance that would always last has really lasted. Ah, so. Only the food I just need to sustain me. What a poem. I thank God, never born in Huntington, Long Island, but a brown water bath, brown to my grown bones. Dogs get free love for just being. Why's that? Here, mama, fuck, I'm shot. You got a good pen I can borrow? Overheard. These are my kissing in the hallway suspenders. Squish. Squish is my all-time favorite sound. The brown squish of a load of shit escaping with steam from my ass to infinity. To think that it comes from within me to pop into my porcelain bowl of blue makes me feel outside, beneath the sky, or rather above it all, believe me. Like a Greek god, I just put in the sky what I want to see, and that's it. A shithouse poem. You wipe your ass with fluffy white clouds. Maybe that's why there are pink clouds, folks. There once white clouds flecked with my shit. Or the squish, squish, squish of my good old prick, pounding in and out of pink, moist cunt lips. Or the other way around, tight, hot ass. Either way, what happy squishes ensue, this issue of you and me locked in love? Well, sometimes it's just plain old-fashioned sex, and not to be confused with joyous love, though we moan and we squish just the same. Oh, the squish of our cum drops, what heavenly bliss. Squish birth onto earth out of mother's stretched pussy, as she screams, as she sobs, wet with pain. Squish death into earth, the last sound of squish, as your coffin lid's nailed closed. Goodbye, squish. For James. Those are brave yellow socks that match nothing so much as those knives that knock against your eerie desires, as your chihuahua bites me in the drawers. Big bedrooms. These are the big bedrooms that you see in all-night stores, where your breasts are much too big, a bit like fluorescent birds. Though Mom and Dad would like them, I think, chirpy upon stuffed pillows, then leaping upwards as if a chef had arrived on the scene, shouting, "Superb, superb," as only a master chef can shout, smacking with his lips that birds have entered, never to return. I, however, stand alive, outside, a small boy surrounded by night, looking owlish, I suppose, with my coupon in my hands into your eyes. They, too, are too big, just as all the maps I've ever seen of the United States strike me as being much too small. I seem to be missing my feet, and I am always uncomfortable when traveling towards you to realize I shall be old when I arrive, finally, speckled with white. But this is the milk white of innocence, I hear you cheep. What a dream, swallowing me within those gleaming breasts, a little bit south of North Carolina. A difficult feat, I admit, where we fly against flocks of other swallows, heads up, winging towards home. Is that it? Parquet. I slides in the coat store. "I'm looking for a parquet," I says. "You mean margarine," the salesman says. "You mean," I says, "if I actually cover myself with parquet margarine from my head to my toes, I'll never die or catch a cold?" "I didn't say that," the salesman says. "No, but thanks for the tip," I says. I slides out. Cornflakes. On the cornflakes box is a little black boy. He is eating cornflakes. Outside the cornflakes box sits a little white boy named Billy. He is also eating cornflakes. The two of them stare at one another, and they smile at one another, just as if eating cornflakes, fortified with 8 essential vitamins plus iron, is all it takes to make you smile this one fine day. Well, perhaps it is. A short poem, Cottage. This cottage in the night is filled with cheese. We eat, we make love, we leave our message. We rats, thank you.
Thanks, Bill. I'm Mike Slater. The first poem is called 3 Aphorisms Arrived at After Long Meditation. The storm supports the lifeboat. This sea is no lifeboat. That swimming in your head is tears. This was an act. This was an act. Every time was. The walls fell in like waterfalls. Clouds of birds flew up from the carpet. My friend's name is contemporary literature. The door wouldn't lock. There were noises outside from the dangerous city. "I'll call you tomorrow," she said with a knowing smile. A ringing phone in a shoebox. Tearing open the wrapping paper, tissue flowers covered the floor. Crumpled newspapers filled the kitchen. Footsteps had that crinkling sound, as though each step were that much nearer the chapter's end, or was it walking on dried leaves? Hillside Sestina. No protrusion of flesh appeared to us fleshy or unattractive. The extremities of arbitrary passion excited us. It was as if we had superimposed on our senses an open call for the sprite of chance, a missing tooth in our meshing together. A list of objects, Rhine wine, sliced peaches, Greek olives. Sheep graze as we picnic, a Greek pastoral, an ice water sky. Tufted grasses superimposed over mud. It was as if we had concluded a long list. The ground, soggy as wet bread. Pealing laughter, the sprites of our hands flew up to throttle our arbitrary delights. Cold settled into the valley. We huddled chilled flesh. Everything I bite into squirts juice. I could list my pleasures endlessly. They are wood sprites, dragonflies among the grasses. Cigarettes dangle from my jawline, trailing smoke. Stretching my legs and arms, I superimpose myself on the compass points, classic marble and Greek. Arbitrary divine laughter peals forth, the sound of a shepherd's bell. The dragonflies raise hell by the tree stump. Olive pits lay in the grass. An urbane, green wine bottle reflects red light. The white gloved door. The white gloved door spoke. The story was dark glass. Shapes waved the gray cypress where tiny parades fell like drapes. The ceiling murmured and kissed, its abdomen big as a clarinet. 4 white oblongs rose in the air, hot snow, meringue, embracing lamps, bulb lips, blind tongues, cheeks billowed, soft motorized hum, emptying gutters, no one, throttling drum beats, round trills, that breathing bulk, that strong smell. Another soul asleep at the wheel. Like breath going in and out of the body, a light goes through its sequence of 3 colors. A test everyone passes and passes on home, personalities on fire. The Miracle Mile, Dayton, Ohio, hamburgers and gasoline. Behind every steering wheel you find the remote edge, possibility, the Milky Way, the blur of headlights. 49 New Year's. There are 49 versions of taking a walk. Ricotta or a pig's head, hanging from a hook in a shop window. Nutty, the air blasting up 9th Avenue, cast up a perfect ass. Oh, truth, you cruel toothache, say it ain't so, wrapping these dusty antics. Raspberry, wild currant teas, 3 grinning Jews. Happy New Year? Yeah, you too. St. Bernard. The St. Bernard whumps through Stuyvesant Park. Fingers lock across the yellow moon. One man, asleep, across rows of benches. He begins his marble breath. Drum rolls break in his deep bath. He goes under to emerge a journalist. Heedless child past hope and fear. Street lamps in a dead of space flick on. The dog wants to go out. We strum a walk. The boy that never was. We realized the lake was glass, press our noses against, hoping to see long stretches or galaxies, windowsill and distant tenements, no chance of crossing over, fell asleep and didn't care much. Tourists up and down by the fountain. You give me a particularly good-natured look, as if to say no good dwelling on it, but you have such peculiar taste in landscapes. An idea good enough to stay awake for. The storm came, throwing rain. There's another road over the mountains, but it doesn't begin here. The first step is only a gesture to impress the folks back home. Pebbles roll till they come against a rock. We walk together from this cavern, says the myth, then taste the vodka of the air of your tongue. One of us goes on alone. Troubling? No. We walk to the children's zoo. The skyline crumbles as we talk. 8 boys playing baseball, raising dust. And a historical piece, Quasimodo. The progression, slow-beating drums before the rabble off to Te Deum, syphilitic jugglers, ragged girls, madcap dancing dogs, and lunatics bark the awful vestments and white stone under the June torch. The rose window is a singular heart in an armored fist. Birds cover the gargoyles like bonnets. They plague Paris, picking over the garbage and nesting in old women's laps. and the guard sweats miserably under his cuirass. The cutpurse's mind is on business. Attention passing through everyone else's head is the blue sen. Indianapolis, for Paul Violi. Indianapolis is sexier than Des Moines. Paper airplanes flutter over fields littered with Frank Lloyd Wright houses. Small gray asses move up and down in the clumps of prune shrubbery. In Des Moines, men take aspirin and slam taxi doors. Des Moines has longer legs and less hair, but the Indiana shopgirls licked the orange juice from their sticky lips until 10 in the morning. We all ran onto the grass, helmets under our arms, but the crowd's roar became the moo of cows, and our feet lodged in cow patties, and we sprouted and grew into violent green cornstalks. We were the envy of Kansas. The air was as crisp as a $5 bill. It was a perfect day for football. The feed trucks whooshed down the macadam road, dropping ears of corn that rolled and lay still in ditches. We picked them up and ran knees high. The trucks have since pulled into Indianapolis and left us sucking on hollow grasses and washing dung from our toes. Our brown imprints are scattered in yellow fields along Route 59 and have frozen with the sudden change of weather. Dead stalks hang over them. Tourists arrive by plane, ship, and car. No one has the courage to tell them the race ended months ago. A man in white buck shoes points out there is no place for ships to land in landlocked Indianapolis. This only increases their sobbing as they cling to one another and to their torn cardboard valises. Here, in Indianapolis, we all wake up in bed with one another and find the snow mounting to our second-story window. We cuddle and tell funny stories until the snow melts, which sometimes takes quite a while, and then floods Kentucky, which we all consider unfortunate. In Des Moines, they don't consider anything unfortunate, so the waters recede before they ever come up. The geology falls back too, leaving Des Moines flat, almost concave. Standing on the far edge, one sees the near edge, entirely missing the middle. Yet in town, we feel a kinship with our farm country and walk back and forth, wearing wreaths of ivy and carrying memories of nature. These memories call forth images. 2 men and a woman haggle over a used Buick in a showroom. Reflected in the plate glass windows, the new skyscrapers, the empty sky, falling airplanes. I go out on the street and stop our teammates in stained maroon jerseys. They look at me dully and say they're leaving town in March. At the mirror. I shoved the toothbrush up and down in my mouth, back and forth, over the upper and lower teeth, building up as much suds as I could manage, since I wanted to leave that morning with a clean mouth and not make anybody pretend they didn't notice something they did. Also, I was near the end of my tube of Crest and wanted to make it last as long as I could by sudsing and sudsing without spitting it out. After I gargled the suds and saliva at the back of my throat, I finally spat it out and breathed in sharply that first cold Crest breath over my teeth. The white of the foamy X-toothpaste in the sink was streaked with red. My toothbrush was a little bloody too. I was afraid, since my gums were bleeding again, that in another 10 or 20 years, when I'm 40 maybe, that my teeth will push and slide right out of their gums. Then a major preoccupation of my life would be the dentist, and I'd hate it, and the bills and the inconvenience, more important and grievous than just about anything. In transit, nothing like the feeling of winning. And it's not just beating somebody that tells you for sure that, yes, you are one of the survivors swimming out from a shipwreck. This is why I look so smug when I abandon the evening, when I go to bed each night in strange cities, at bus stops, drifting off, parallel lines, the Patterson or Akron skyline, black sparrows drift on saturated air. And the evening fills with sleeping birds, and I become tenacious and dream myself a survivor of days that rush by on trains. Tasting light. I taste light on my tongue. The sun falls in like a logjam breaking up. Playing baseball with my high school buddy, a pastel pitch drifted lazily by. As it passed, I awoke, and the river flowed into my room, my arms and legs wet weeds on a loamy bank, and these thoughts, the darting of water bugs on its dappling surface. AM voices. Voices come into the window, speaking of clothing, the sun, leisure suits from Alexander's, also children whirring, sexless shrieks like the cold metal of perambulators, and the loose change in my pocket sound of Spanish, the language of Franco and Neruda, tintinnabulating hopelessly, can't understand a word, under the toneless chanting of cars and trucks, into the street pours white coffee. Pleasures of the park prone. The sky turns into a red mist behind my eyes. The turquoise river disappears from my right hand. The dirt's a flat carpet, and the clatter of bicycles enters a chamber under my forehead where it is joined by snatches of conversations real and imagined, and the sound of laughter after lovemaking, leaving Ellen in the bed and rushing to the kitchen or bathroom for a beer or toothbrush. A woman I don't know comes through a door into a room I don't recognize and pushes her face into mine. The dream moves to a crowded park in which I am knee-deep in water. Then the noises are below me again, and the sun is yellow and pink over the river, and I realize I am up to my neck in color. Thank you.